off with making the meatballs, okay? So this is kind of like a cocktail meatball, one that you can serve on a platter that is nice and festive, you know, for the holidays. But you could do so many things with this recipe. You could put it in a hoagie bun and make a sandwich with it. You could not put the sweet and sour sauce on it and put marinara sauce on it and put it on spaghetti instead. Like I said, there's a lot of options here. So with this recipe, hopefully you're pulling that out. It is the Sweet and Sour Party Meatballs. And a lot of times people ask me, how do you get enough protein as a vegetarian? This recipe is full of protein. No worries about that. Okay, so there are two things I use in my kitchen more than anything else, and that is a food processor and a blender, a high-speed blender. So if you have not bought yourself one of those, put it on your Christmas wish list and make sure an Instant Pot would be up on that list too. But those are the main ones I use a lot. So just a very simple food processor. I bought this one at Black Friday sale here for the church. Okay, so we are gonna start off by putting in here some of our ingredients. So the first thing that we are putting in here is tempeh. Now tempeh is a fermented soy. This is what it looks like. You can find this in the produce department at your grocery store, usually at Meijer, where the mushrooms are kept. At Kroger, it's kind of back more in the deli, like where yogurt and all that kind of stuff is. Anyways, 18 grams of protein per serving, and we're using this entire package, so we're getting a lot of protein in here. High fiber, and it doesn't have a lot of taste, so we're going to be adding taste by the seasonings we use. But if you look at it, you can see the soybean shape, right? So this is a very whole foods. There's nothing processed really about this at all. Now I did steam it first, which is kind of maybe an optional thing, but sometimes tempeh seems a little bit bitter, and that will take the bitterness away. So we're just popping all that tempeh into here. And then we are adding some brown rice. Now you can cook your own brown rice, or if you are trying to save time, which at the holidays we often are, you can buy packaged brown rice. So this is just brown rice. I bought at Aldi's. Whole grain brown rice, and I'm just putting a half cup of that in here. And then the next form of protein we're adding to this is lentils. These are brown lentils. Lentils come in different types. And this is 1 3/4 cup. I actually cooked these in my Instant Pot last night. I think it was for like 18 minutes. But you can buy cooked lentils too at Kroger. And they are one of those organic ones. So if you don't have a lot of time, or you don't want to do that, you can just buy the lentils in a can and add those. Okay, and now we are adding an onion. Let's find my onion right here. And some garlic. A small onion, 2 cloves of garlic. Minced up. Now, meatballs typically are held together with eggs, right? It's used as a binder. Well, we are not putting any eggs in this, so what we have in here instead is 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. Popping that in there. And then we are adding some basil. Calls for a teaspoon. This is basil I grew in my garden this year. And then salt. And it says 1 to 2 teaspoons. I'm just gonna put about 1. And I'm estimating. How many of you cook like that? All right. Oh, one other thing is the toasted walnuts. So the walnuts help to, one, they give it a little bit of fat. They give it some extra protein. And it also gives it a little bit of texture. Because one of the things I have found sometimes about vegetarian meatballs is that they can just seem mushy. And nobody likes a mushy meatball. So having a little bit of texture there makes it better. Okay, that is all of our ingredients. And now we are going to process this, and it's, oh, it says flour. I'm supposed to have the flour. Flour. Okay, and I have a gluten-free flour here, but you could use regular flour too. Okay, now we are going to process this, not too long, we don't want it to turn mushy, but just until everything's held together very well. Liquid are in your lentils. I'm finding this is just a little bit dry because my lentils are not as moist as they were last night when I cooked them. So I'm going to add, can you give me just like a little bit of water in there? Okay, it's looking pretty good. Just want to make sure that all of my tempeh broke up and everything is kind of mixed together pretty well. And I would say it is. Now what I'm going to do as a test is just dampen my fingers. That's the key to keep things from sticking. And just grab a little bit and see if it forms into a ball. I think it formed pretty good. Okay, so does that seem about how it was when you made it? Okay. Marcy made the ones you're gonna eat tonight. So once you're done making your meatballs, you'll form all of these, and we baked them. So they weren't fried, baked. And then once they're baked, you can then add whatever sauce with them you want. Tonight, what you're getting is a sweet and sour sauce. The recipe for that is on the back of your recipe. It's made with pineapple juice and a little bit of coconut sugar, vinegar, ketchup, Rags liquid aminos or tamari or soy sauce, and then some cornstarch to thicken it. So it's a very great sweet sour sauce that's low sugar, and that's how we're going to be serving them. But like I said, you could do this in many different ways. You could actually take this and press it into a casserole dish and make like a meatloaf even out of this. So, or you could turn it into burgers, you know. So like I said, there's a lot of options here, and it's got a lot of nice texture to it, a little bit of chewiness, a little bit of crunch. And you could add any other flavors to it that you like. All right, that's it with that. How are we doing with that? All right, so we're gonna clean up our mess here, get the rest of the food put out, and then you're gonna eat. Yes?
Did you saute your onions, or were those raw onions you put in?
They were raw,
Okay.
and then as they bake, they'll cook.
Okay, yeah. It just says in the recipe to saute them first, but you
Did it?
without it, huh?
Well, maybe I made a mistake there.
I always eat the mistake.
Probably would be maybe better sauteed, but they're baked for what? 15, 20 minutes? 25 minutes? That's probably enough to cook them.
The ones you eat tonight, they were sauteed first.
Yeah, I don't put this on.
All right, so she had made them correctly. I guess I'm rushing. All right. How was your meal? You think your non-plant-based eating friends would enjoy some of those treats? Just don't tell them. Just feed it to them. They'll be like, oh, these are really good. How'd you make these? Then you can tell them. So we are going to make the herb cheese ball, the garlic herb cheese ball right now. And to make this, the key is soaking your cashews ahead of time. That helps to make it smoother and more creamy. Most cheese balls are made from different types of cheeses like cream cheese or mozzarella, those sorts of things. And so they're very high in fat and all that. Sometimes they have goat cheese. Anyways, this is a dairy-free version. So you can soak your cashews either overnight, or if you want to be faster because you didn't prep ahead of time, you can boil them in water for like 10 minutes or so, and then turn them off and let them cool down, and then use them. So what it does is it just absorbs some of the water into the cashews, and it makes them softer and easier to blend. So then what we're going to do is add in our garlic. So to do this, what you want to do is take a piece of foil and place your garlic cloves in it. Now, if you're doing a lot of garlic at once, like I was doing for this event, I like to buy at all these bags of already peeled garlic. It just saves you so much time. So anyways, you put 6 cloves it calls for. You can do more than that if you want. If you want it more garlicky. Then I just drizzled just a little olive oil in there and then folded it up. I put it in my toaster oven and baked it in there for like 20-25 minutes. And they get all nice and roasted and soft. And they smell so good. So that's a key thing in this recipe. Then we're going to add lemon juice. 3 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And now we're adding coconut milk. And for those who don't know what coconut milk looks like at a store, this is usually in the Asian food section. This is the full-fat coconut milk. Thai Kitchen is the brand. And then, now this is an optional thing, but I sometimes will add just a little bit of coconut oil to it. What this helps to do is, coconut oil is kind of like shortening in that it's solid when it's cold. So when this cheese ball goes in the fridge and chills, the coconut oil helps to solidify it a little bit more so that it can look more like a cheese ball, not be so loose. So, but it does add a little extra fat to it, so that's something you could leave out if you wanted to. Now we have nutritional yeast flakes. And for those who don't know what those are, it is a deactivated yeast. It's not to be confused with like bread yeast or anything like that. It's very high in B vitamins, so a lot of vegetarians like it because you can get your B12, which is not found in normal plant-based foods. And it's kind of had a little bit of a cheesy flavor to it. So I use it in a lot of my vegetarian plant-based cheeses. And that's what's giving this some really good flavor. This is the Bragg's version. Kroger has a version too. It's Simple Truth brand. You'll find this in like the baking aisle. Okay, now we need a little bit of salt. And about 3/4 of a teaspoon-ish. Okay, now we're gonna blend this up. Now halfway through, I kind of like to get whatever's up on the sides down inside there a little bit better. And you want to process it until it's as smooth as you can get it. You can do this in a blender too. I think I actually used a blender for the ones you guys tried, which made it probably a little bit smoother than the food processor is doing it. It's getting pretty close. Okay, I'm going to go one more time and then we'll add the herbs. Key thing is giving this flavor is your herbs. And yesterday I went out to my herb garden and picked the last of the herbs because I knew it was going to get down to like 16 degrees tonight. I was like, you may not make it after tonight. But I had rosemary out there. In fact, the rosemary that was around the platter was from that. Parsley, dill, that was little ones that popped up this fall. And then green onions. The chives were already done for out there. So I used green onions instead. So you put in all your chopped herbs. You can put whatever herbs you want. Those were just some of the holiday ones I thought. I thought maybe it was a little strong on the rosemary. What do you guys think? No? Okay. All right, now we're just doing it long enough to incorporate it, but not to turn this green. Once your ball is all incorporated, you need some kind of a mold. So I'm just using a glass bowl, whatever shape you kind of want your cheese ball to end up being. And then you want to put some, what is this stuff called? Cheesecloth. Some cheesecloth. And then you're going to take it and put all of this inside your cheesecloth. And when you're done, you're going to take your ball and just wrap it up around it as tightly as you can and then put it in your fridge overnight, okay? Or at least quite a few hours, because that's what's going to help it to form its shape, okay? So what we're going to do now is give this to some of these ladies.
Hey Stace, on that, you mentioned that you thought the flavor may have improved.
It did improve. So last night I tried it and I was like, I don't taste the herbs very much. But today I did. So having it sit overnight really helps to incorporate those flavors. So it's kind of like a must. So artichoke dip is a popular appetizer at restaurants, but it is not a healthy appetizer. It is usually got like 6 forms of dairy in it. Milk, butter, cream cheese, Romano cheese, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan. I looked up the Olive Garden website to see how much calories and fat and sodium was in their artichoke spinach dip. 1,160 calories, 81 grams of fat,
Oh my God.
and
Per serving?
2,400 milligrams of sodium. Yeah, I don't know. That was just from their like nutritional thing that they put up there, and I was like, wow, that's like a heart attack waiting to happen. Yeah. So this version is good for your heart, cholesterol free, much lower fat, much lower sodium. Okay, so we're gonna start off by getting our skillet nice and hot here. And okay. So we're gonna start off by sauteing our onion and our garlic. And I used a red onion in this. You can do a white onion if you want. And just because my pan is not non-stick, I'm gonna have to add a little oil in here just to keep this from sticking too badly. Okay, so this is gonna get sauteing. Okay. And then what we're going to do is while that's cooking, we're going to start assembling the sauce part. And for that, I will need my blender. So for our dairy, we are using tofu. We're using a silken tofu, which just means it's a little bit softer. You could use a regular tofu too. That is going right into the blender. Okay, then we're going to add to this let's see, the water go in here too. Water skillet, heat your oil, saute your onions, add your garlic, add your red pepper flakes.
I did not put red pepper flakes in mine. I didn't have them.
That's all right. Some people may think it makes it too hot. Okay. Yeah, the water's going in here, so we're gonna put a little water in here.
And my in the 9x13, that's a double batch.
Oh, yeah. So this would normally fit in an 8x8. Okay. And then we're adding our nutritional yeast flakes. Again, like I said, this is what gives it your cheesy flavor.
What size do you need?
Half cup. The half cup measuring, is it over there?
Wet right here. She needs it dry.
Oh.
Okay. And then my lemon juice is here. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Two tablespoons of lemon. All right, we are just gonna. There you go, 2 tablespoons of lemon. Okay, was this half a cup? Yeah, there's a lot in here. And then we have all of our herbs. So we have onion powder, garlic powder, basil, and I can't remember if I threw the salt in there. I don't think I did. So the salt is going to be 1.5 teaspoons.
I don't think I put as much salt as it said.
All right, we'll cut down on the salt.
But I did, because I didn't have the pepper flakes, I did put regular pepper, from a pepper mill in there.
Okay. Okay, now here's a key ingredient in this recipe, and that is tapioca starch. So you're familiar with like cornstarch. So tapioca starch is similar, that's a thickener. The only thing is that if you're familiar with tapioca pudding and such, tapioca has a little bit more gelatinous to it. So when it's turned into a powder, it actually creates a little bit more of a stretchiness. So you think of cheeses are very, have a stretch to them. And that's what the tapioca starch does. Now the key is to blend your tapioca flour with cold ingredients and then cook it. If you add it straight to hot right away, it's going to get gummy really quick and thicken up too fast. So we're adding it to all these cold ingredients, then we'll be putting it in here. So we've got 3 tablespoons of tapioca starch. And if you're wondering where you could find that, it's in the baking aisle, usually where the gluten-free stuff is, because people who eat gluten-free use tapioca starch a lot. I bake a bread for my husband that's made with, has a lot of tapioca starch in it for one of the flours in the bread flour. Okay, I think we've got all of our ingredients in here. We're gonna blend this. Okay, doesn't take very long. So our onions are still cooking. After these are a little bit softer, I'm going to end up adding our artichoke hearts. So I have quartered artichoke hearts. It says chopped. I didn't chop them, so just going to take my knife here and kind of break them up a little bit. But you want some pretty good chunks in there. And then the other ingredient is your spinach. We're going to let that cook for a second.
Sure, you put the garlic flakes in
The
there.
garlic. Yes, that was chopped up in there. And the onions. Did you use red onions in yours? Or yeah, it was really good. Okay, so any question about this recipe so far? How many of you use tofu at home? Okay, so at least half of you are familiar with it. So tofu is just a soy product. It's made from soybeans that have been cooked and blended with water, boiled, and then they end up pressing it. So when you buy tofu, you'll find this is the silken, so it's got a lot of liquid left in it. Then you have like firm and extra firm. So when you go to some of those firmer ones, there's a lot less moisture in it. And so then they scramble, or you can cube it and fry it or bake them, or depending, you can even get tofu presses that will squeeze it even more and get even more water out of it. So it's a very versatile thing. If you eat Asian food, and you go to an Asian restaurant, often they'll have tofu as a protein option. That's a vegetarian protein option. But the thing about tofu is it doesn't really have any flavor of its own. I'm not going to get all this spinach in this thing. Oh, it could be. It is an 8-ounce bag. There you go. We don't need the whole thing. So like I was saying, tofu takes on the flavor of whatever you add to it. Doesn't have any flavor on its own. So because of that, if you're using it as like a dairy substitute, for example, in this cheese sauce, or let's say for a manicotti, or like a ricotta, like a ricotta, you can use tofu, then it's kind of neutral to whatever you add to it. So it makes it a very versatile protein source as a vegetarian. And I'm just curious, in that package, I don't know if that package is still around here.
Are you still, can I just do it?
Yeah, does it tell how much protein is in that package? Just curious.
4 grams
Per
per serving.
Okay, and it's probably several servings.
Yeah, there's 5 servings in here.
5 servings?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely wilting down quite a bit. Okay, and where's my artichoke hearts? Okay, we're gonna say this is pretty good. Then you add your sauce. And as this heats up, it's going to thicken that tapioca flour or tapioca starch. It's the same thing. You'll sometimes see it called either. Okay, so we're gonna get this nice and hot, and it's going to go from a very glossy look right now, but as it cooks, it's going to get more stretchy and it'll lose that gloss. Kind of same as like a cornstarch does when you add it to something. While that's heating, I'm end up putting it in this casserole dish. This can be made ahead of time. You made this yesterday.
And like your stuff, I thought the flavors were better tonight than last night when I tried it.
There you go. So you can make this ahead of time, pop it in your fridge, and then when you're having your party, just take it out and bake it before your event, and it will be just fine. And I like to bake it until it starts to just brown a little bit on top. That's when it's just so good. Okay, it's getting really nice and thick now. And it's losing its glossiness. It's getting that stretchy. It's starting to look like melted cheese. And that's that tapioca starch doing that. Okay, it's almost done here. I don't know if you can kind of see how it's starting to really, oh, it looks so good and smells so good.
And tastes good.
And tastes good. Okay, we're calling this good. Now we're just gonna pour it into your pan, put your lid on it. You can bake it right away, or like I said, make it ahead, put it in your fridge, and bake it your next day.
I have a question. If
Yeah.
you say you baked it tonight,
Yeah.
could you just reheat it the next day?
Yeah.
What would you do? Microwave it, or would you put it back in the oven?
Put it back in the oven. Just warm it. Yeah.
It also said on there you can serve it like room temperature if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be right out of the oven.
We're gonna move this out of the way, and it's very hot. Okay. Thank you. you.
Mhm.
That's gonna go home with me and be used at a Christmas holiday event I'm going to Saturday night.
There you go.
They don't have to prep anything now. Yeah, for those of you who live here in St. Charles, you know that this Saturday night is the downtown Christmas parade festival. So our church is going to go caroling downtown, and so if you're down there, look for us. We're going to be singing and passing out gifts, and then coming back here and having some treats afterwards. So you're welcome to come back over here afterwards and have some food. Okay, so now what we're going to do is move to our 2 desserts. Okay, so our Christmas orange balls are made with dried fruit, and that's what is sweetening these balls. There is no sugar added, although these dried mangoes do say sweetened, which means that they put some sugar on them. So you could, and I think this is what Cheryl did, she rinsed them off. So they were literally no sugar tonight, but that you had. But I am not taking the time to do that right now. So we are putting a cup of these in here. The 1 cup measure.
Right here. Let's use it.
So yeah, you can take the sugar off of these. Okay, there's about a cup. Then the other dried fruit is golden raisins. And I love golden raisins because they have they're not quite as strong as a normal raisin is, but they give it kind of this orangey color that we're going for. And I bought these at Aldi's as well. I love shopping at Aldi's. Okay. Then we're gonna add raw cashews. So here's my raw cashews, 3/4 of a cup. And then we're going to put in some orange zest and orange juice. This is an organic orange, so I'm not worried about pesticides and all that stuff. So that's about a teaspoon. That's probably more than a teaspoon. Tablespoon or teaspoon? Teaspoon of brine. Not very much. Alright, and now, knife. Right here. And now a tablespoon of the juice. Oranges smell so good. If you want to make your house smell good this Christmas, just make something with oranges. Cook it on your stove.
So I couldn't still orange, I think I'd overdo that zest.
Yeah. Alright, and then a little salt, just a tiny bit. Quarter teaspoon. Okay. Alright. At first it's a little violent. Then you want to just check and make sure everything is small enough. I think I can go just a tiny bit more. Did you notice how it changed? When it started to like form a big ball, that's when it's perfect. Yeah, that's it right there.
I had my doubts when I made that last night because I thought, oh. Just like she said, all of a sudden.
All of a sudden it kind of comes together and it forms a dough, yeah. And then all I did was roll these in a little bit of shredded coconut. Now, most coconut you buy at the store is sweetened. So I like to buy my coconut from Country Life, and it's unsweetened, and it's very like a smaller, fine, yeah. So it kind of looks more like snowflakes. So once it's rolled in that, you got your perfect orange Christmas ball. There it is. All right. So now that was a fast recipe, wasn't it? Yeah, you could whip those up so quick and bring a healthy treat to whatever holiday event you're going to. The original recipe that I had used golden raisins and dried pineapple, and then it had lemon juice and lemon zest in them. So they were like lemon balls. That was the original recipe I worked off of, and then I was thinking Christmas, oranges, and I kind of switched to mango oranges rather than pineapple. So that gives you another option at a different time of year. Okay, the last recipe we're doing is the truffles. And this is a recipe I just recently came across by going to the Plant-Based Saginaw group. Someone there made them. And I thought these were just like so delicious. Did you like them? So delicious. And the amazing thing is that there's very little sugar in these. In fact, you can make them completely sugar-free total. The bag that had the chocolate chips in it. Threw it away. I need that. She's so efficient. All right, so these ones were dark chocolate, no sugar added, peanut-free, dairy-free. I bought these at Costco. Now they only carry these at Christmas time or the holidays, so if you want to get some, stock up soon. These are sweetened with erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. It does not affect blood sugar levels, so people who are diabetic can eat that type of sweetener without it spiking their blood sugars. So that's why they're considered no sugar. Sometimes when things say no sugar, you have to look because it might be aspartame or something else, that's not good for you at all. So, but these are really nice. Now there are other chocolate chips you could go with. I have some plant-based dark chocolate. This is Nestle's brand, Toll House, plant-based. So there are other ones that you can find. There are 2 other brands that are sugar-free that you can get at the grocery store. Lakantos, I think they are monk fruit sweetened. Lily's is another one. So just look and make sure there's no dairy in your chocolate chips. So what we're doing for this recipe is really very simple. It's only 4 ingredients. The secret ingredient, the one you don't tell anybody is in it, is your chickpeas, right? Or garbanzo beans. I grew up calling them garbanzo beans. High protein, high fiber, very good for blood sugar control. So here's the amazing thing about this recipe, is it's really guilt-free because you can eat them and you're getting a really yummy dessert, but you're not going to be like putting on tons of pounds from it. You're not going to be spiking your blood sugar badly because these beans, and any beans really, will help to stabilize your blood sugars. And the fiber, of course, is really good for that too. So that is a key ingredient in here. And then we have our almond butter, or you can do peanut butter. I've done it, I did it both ways recently, and truthfully, I couldn't tell the difference. So the peanut butter maybe gives it a little bit more of like a, can't think of what they're called. Reese's peanut butter cup.
Now, could you put the powdered peanut butter?
Yes, so I did that too. Yeah, you can, but you'll want to add the liquid into it first so that you're reconstituting it like peanut butter. And I did that, and it worked perfect as well. And that would make it even less fattening. And if you want to keep out the nuts altogether, you could use a sunflower seed butter. I think you could probably try tahini. Tahini is a little bit strong, so it might come through.
I usually use either the sunflower butter or the wild butter's made with soy.
Okay, yeah,
Because my
either
son's
one of
allergic to nuts.
Yeah, so if you're taking it to a holiday party where someone has a nut allergy, just swap out. And then we're adding some dates, and these are like really hard. Yeah, just do this. Put a little water on them and just pop them in the microwave for like 60 seconds. Yesterday, I just put them in the boiling water. So this is called a double boiler. It's just a pot with a bowl over it. And this is what we put our chocolate chips in. See all that goodness? And you can put your dates in the hot water and just let them soak for a little bit. But we're short on time, so they're going to warm them up that way. You want your dates soft and then it blends up a little easier. So this is 1 cup of melted chocolate. Okay. So we're going to throw our dates in there, and then we're blending this up, and that's all that's inside these truffles.
Yeah.
It's hot. Okay, so we're adding our softened dates. And now we are ready to blend this up. We want to go until it kind of creates a dough. Alrighty, I think we have this here. So there are 2 things you can do at this point. And I think because my dates are really soft, is there's a little bit moister than it was last night. So you can use a cookie thing to take it out, or a couple spoons. Then get a, just hand me a plate. Pretend the plate is a cookie tray. A cookie sheet. Then just take it, plop it on there. Now, at this point, you can do one of 2 things. You can either put these in the freezer for just a couple minutes to firm up slightly, or, and I did that last night and then forgot about them, and then they were hard, and I couldn't do anything with them. Or you can moisten your fingers and form the ball a little bit smooth, just to smooth it out a little bit. I found that kind of worked better. And then put it in the freezer, okay? And then once it's in the freezer for like 10 to 15 minutes, they get nice and firm. And then while that's happening, you melt more chocolate chips, another cup. In the same way, through your double boiler on your stove. When you take them out, they are going to look very glossy, they're cold. And then you dip them, and I used 2 forks or 2 spoons. I think the forks worked a little bit better. Into the chocolate, mix it around so that it coats them very well. And then just use the forks to pull it out, because you don't want to take a bunch of chocolate with it, because then you have a puddle of chocolate on your tray, and that wastes your chocolate. So try to get as much of the chocolate off of it before you put it back on your cookie sheet. And then at that point, if the truffles are cold, like they were in the freezer long enough, the chocolate almost like sets up on them pretty fast. And then at that point, you can start putting your toppings on it. So we put on ours, I did 3 different types. These ones, I just put some coarse salt on them. I'd like to try this recipe and kind of maybe create more of a caramely one. And then I don't know. I'm gonna experiment with that. Because I think that would be really good with the salt on top. These, I use freeze-dried strawberries. And I got those from Aldi's. I was looking for freeze-dried raspberries, but then I saw these, I'm like, oh, strawberries and chocolate, of course. So just crushed up some of those and put those on top. Or if your chocolate starts to firm up, then you can take some more of the chocolate and just drizzle it across, and it creates more of the drizzled chocolate look on them. So those are just the 3 I did. You could put coconut on or whatever you want. And then put it back in your freezer until it's completely firm, and then put them in your fridge or freeze them for whenever. So it's a super easy recipe and still good, and nobody will ever know there's garbanzo beans in there. So don't tell anyone. Okay, well that's it. We went through 5 recipes. That's probably the most we've ever done at a class. And hopefully it's not too late. Well, really glad you guys could come and spend this evening with us. Hopefully you got an idea of something you can make at a holiday party or holiday event this holiday season. And I'm going to ask Steve to come up and just share a couple of thoughts with us before we go.
Okay. Well, what do you think? You're well on your way to enjoying the holidays, but at a healthier pace, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give up the holidays, right? We want to have fun. We want to enjoy good food. And this is a way to do it, right? I mean, we're all weak when it comes to temptation. If we can plan ahead of time for eating good foods, we can have both.
Yeah.
And I want to, what's that?
Very true.
Yeah. And we do this because we have proven it, right? We've gone through holidays and enjoyed the holidays, had great food, even this past Thanksgiving, and my pants still fit afterwards, right? So it's worth it to put the extra time in.
Yeah.
I want to read something. Paul was getting ready to leave Ephesus, and he said this. He said, I have shown you in every way, by laboring like this, that you must support the weak. What a better blessing to give someone than good health during the holidays. And remember the words of the Lord Jesus. He said that it is more blessed to give than to receive. We can do so much for people because nowadays, with the way they're splicing the genes and GMOs and all this stuff, we have got bad food and we have to avoid it and find ways to work around it. So if we can give somebody good health, it's coming more and more important because people recognize they're getting sick. And the biggest impact we have to our health is what we eat, right? So the Lord is giving us good ideas, and there's always options around this, and we don't have to be sick. I mean, sickness is going to happen anyway, but we can get rid of a lot of it if we just eat right and exercise, of course, too. So. But thank you so much to my wife here, and I hope you enjoyed it, and the whole team here. It doesn't mean anything unless you're all here with us, so come hang out with us again. But,
yes, please do. Put it on your calendars to come and join us in January or every month.
Yeah.
I think we take 2 months off during the middle of the summer, but the rest of the times we're here. And we're going to be planning out our topics for this next year. So if there's something in particular you would love to have us talk about, jot that down on your card that you got if you're new, or text us or email us. because we would love to do something that you want to hear about.
Right.
So we'd love to follow up on some of your ideas. Yes.
Question?
Can you mention the plant-based food?
Yes, absolutely. So, and that's not on a specifically date. You just have to follow the group.
It
Okay.
varies, yeah.
Yeah, so look up the Plant-Based Saginaw Facebook group, ask to join, and then once you are in, they will post different events they have. You have one coming up next week, or 2 weeks, on the 18th. So, a week from this coming Wednesday, yes, is their next potluck. So everyone brings a dish to pass with the recipe, and they're all plant-based, oil-free. So you can come, you get to sample everybody's food that they brought, and then there's sometimes some other little feature. But those are a great place to try new things, meet other health conscious people like you find here at these classes.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome that we have 2 of these kind of resources so nearby. So spread the word and join. Yeah.
So where in Saginaw?
It's at the Thomas Township Nature Center, the new Nature Center right by.
And Shields, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
It's a very nice
Very nice.
facility.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna be on the 18th, so next week.
oh.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to bring a
And
dish.
first time people just come and enjoy. There, and I think you also bring some of your own plates and stuff, right? Utensils. Okay, well let's pray and we'll let you go.
All right.
Dear God, we want to thank you so much for blessing us this evening and for this fun time we've had together, eating some good food, talking about health. Lord, bless everyone here with a great holiday. And we pray, Lord, that this coming year will find us healthier and happier and experiencing the abundant life you came to give. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.